This episode brought to you by Dubby. Link for 10% discount in the description down below.
Evil grows in the dark, where the sun it never shines.
Here we are, folks. At the end of Villains Month, we saved the best for last. Over the years, there have been a lot of villains in video games, so I thought I would narrow it down to one company, and that company being Nintendo. It's no surprise that Nintendo has a lineup of memorable baddies, even rivaling Disney. So much so that counting 10 is a tough one to get to. But with that said, a few ground rules. First off, one villain per franchise. Obviously, a franchise has more than one villain, and we can't put them all down. Rule 2. We are talking about how good of a villain they are and how effective the game's narrative lore and gameplay. Rule 3. We are talking about villains that are a Nintendo Entertainment exclusive, so no games from Sega, Capcom, and so forth. And if a certain fiery joker asks why Kefka is on the list, he's from Final Fantasy. Square Enix. Literally a different company owns that character. After witnessing the death of his parents at a young age, he traveled across the world to be trained by an ancient tribe in combat, to finally become the hero his city doesn't need, but the one it deserves. Oh, sorry, that's the backstory of Batman Begins. Let me start over. After witnessing the death of her parents at a young age, she travels across the galaxy to be trained by an ancient alien race in combat, to finally become the hero the galaxy doesn't need, but the one it deserves. Sorry, I always seem to mix those two up. Yeah, Metroid has definitely been around as long as Mario and Link, and has grown a huge lore full of baddies of the same name, as well as others. But let's be honest, there is one recurring bad guy that has terrorized the game, as well as the main character, Samus Aran. Not much is known about really within the games, as much as its time on screen consists of being in combat with Samus, rampaging and roaring like an animal. However, there are nonetheless glimpses of intelligence and deviantness. He's known to be a brutal, intelligent, and resilient leader of the space pirates. After murdering her parents during a pirate raid, he has been destroyed numerous times by Samus Aran and has reportedly been resurrected through numerous means, with mechanic upgrades to even cloning himself. He basically has been a thorn in Samus's side throughout the Metroid timeline. He's so popular, the fans rejoice to see him in Smash Bros. Both as a boss and a playable character. The reason why he's this low on the list, though, is due to the fact that most of his character and backstory is told through comics. But hey, it's one way to start countdown.
Looking forward to this day, to see you again, Fox McCloud.
Sorry, I didn't know how to start this segment. Once a Corenia scientist, he was banished to the planet Venom after the government and General Pepper deemed his experiments unethical, turning his mind twisted and demented, growing lust for the power to rule over the Lilat system. Much like Ridley, Andros has always been a gluing presence around Team Star Fox, even being the final boss in each installment until Assault, even killing Fox's father. Though I do find it odd that he went from this to a giant monkey head with hands.
Science, I guess.
Well, now we're talking about a Kirby villain. I gotta be honest, most Kirby villains can be either sympathetic and misunderstood to eldritch abominations. Of course, there's iconic ones like King Dedede, Marx, Magolor, and Meta Knight. Some became allies later on, and ones like Darkmind, President Hamilton, Queen Sectonia, and the Beast Pack. But for this segment, seeing how Kirby sometimes has adventures in Dreamland was the opposite of Dream.
It's a nightmare.
Lord Nightmare, aka Nightmare Wizard, is a major antagonist in the Kirby franchise. His main goal, over them killing our beloved Pink Kirby, is to spread darkness and nightmares throughout the galaxy. His appearance has changed over time, starting as a black orb to a tornado-shaped cone. His goals always remain the same. In each installment, he's in clashes with both Kirby and Dedede. I also wanted to bring up Kirby Right Back at Ya, where he runs an enterprise that sells monsters to Dedede to defeat Kirby.
That's what we do best at NME.
How could we not put this guy on this list? Starting as the main antagonist of Mushroom's Kingdom, he has time and time again fought the famous plumber duo and their friends. As a threat, he is a powerful foe that needs to be taken down a peg. His plan on taking over the Mushroom Kingdom and kidnapping Princess Peach has been a main staple to the franchise.
And if you're confused on why he's higher up on this list, is because I thought he had more personality in the other Mario games.
In the 3D Mario games and the comics, he's a thug, but he tries to be a good father to his kids. In the RPGs, he can either be a goofball or a spoiled brat, but is still a respected leader among his troops and minions. And then there's a thing called the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Love really makes a guy come out of his shell.
Admit it, some of you wanted to see this movie just to see how Jack Black does as the character.
That and the Peaches song got stuck in my head until Lava Chicken. Okay, heads up. I was super excited when this Smash Bros. Ultimate trailer came out.
Yeah, I had to hand over my Nintendo fan card if I did not put this guy on the list. Being a constant menace to Kong since his debut in Donkey Kong Country. This demented and unbalanced main villain is the malevolent ruler of the Kremlin race. K. Rool has repeatedly tried to steal Donkey and Diddy Kong's banana hoard for some reasons that aren't fully understood, but may possibly involve starving the primates to death and occupying DK's treehouse. To reach his goal, he has even gone as far as kidnapping members of the Kong family, such as DK and Diddy, but it is in Donkey Kong 64 where he plans to blow up Donkey Kong Island with a powerful mega weapon called the Blast-O-Matic. K. Rool truly is or had become a tyrant, even striking fear into his own Kremlings and other types of goons such as Armadillo and Dugandan, when they feared what he would do to them. If he found out they lost to DK, Diddy, and Chunky, similar to Bowser from the Super Mario series. Plus, in the show, he can sing.
Great to be a king. I seem to have a knack for taking everything I want and giving nothing back.
I prefer the fan music video.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions. Means that having good intentions is not enough. Actions must follow to achieve positive outcomes. It highlights that even actions undertaken with the best of intentions can have negative or unintended consequences. War, unfortunately, has definitely been shown that time and time again. Fire Emblem has plenty of villains that would be on this list. 3 houses included. But according to many, the best villain is the one fallen to jealousy and insecurity. More than anything, Leon is a tragic villain in the Game Boy Advance's praised Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones. His initial intentions in abusing Grado's Sacred Stone, the Fire Emblem, were undoubtedly in the right place. Leon saw himself as a weak individual outside his magic prowess. He simply wanted to aid his compatriots through any means necessary. In his own eyes, having the ability to control the Fire Emblem was all that Leon had to offer. Leon's efforts to keep his homeland safe would eventually come to the cost of the surrounding nations. Blinded by the Demon King's influence, Leon would see no wrong in his actions.
Any torment I inflict is 100% accidental, like any good war criminal.
He is very peaceful and quiet. He is also described as passive. His biggest flaw is that he had strong feelings for Erica, which makes him jealous and unable to think clearly at times. But even under the control of the Great Demon, his envy for Ephraim and his unrequited love for Erica would serve as motivation for his character. Leon felt empowered in a way he had never felt before. Goes to show you should never pick on the quiet kid.
I am the Demon King. No one will stand in my way.
Sorry to keep you waiting, but now that I'm here, let's get this party started.
Oh yeah, it's the big bad, the underworld himself, Hades. Being the main antagonist of Kid Icarus Uprising, a chaotic individual who takes pleasure in the suffering of others, Hades is shown to be a mischievous, manipulative trickster. When engaging in conversation, his tone is playful, dull, yet burning with sarcasm and cruelty. When he first appeared, he announced to Palutena and Pit that he was the one that revived Medusa and her forces, mostly to distract them. Much like Bill Cipher, Hades is a great manipulative character, tricking Pit into killing a phoenix to trick humanity to kill each other over a wish-granting item that doesn't exist. Not only that, but he is a tough boss to fight with his body, literally a weapon of mass destruction. But Pit is finally able to defeat him using his allies and the 3 sacred treasures. But as the credits rolled, Hades said to the player that he might find a way to resurrect himself for the next game in 25 years, to make sure the player won't think of him as a sore loser.
Though here's hoping Nintendo will keep to that promise.
This character, I feel like most of his deeds are done in spite. When he learns of the impending doom up to the world, he convinces himself he is not the one of the heroes of the alien Buzz speaks of. Porky first resurfaces as a high priest of the happiest cult led by Carpenter. Porky kidnaps Paula with the intention of performing a human sacrifice. After Ness meets with Paula, Porky appears and orders the 2 of the cult followers and a spiteful crow to attack them. After the cult is disbanded, he tries to befriend Ness again, only to run off. Porky and his father are later seen working as business consultants for Forsyth's Mayor Gelgagad Monotoli. He uses the money to live a luxurious life, but he eventually steals Monotoli's helicopter after Monotoli is confronted by Ness. He then becomes Gygas' right hand, still taunting Ness. After Gygas is destroyed, he travels through time to become a tyrant, leading an army of brainwashed soldiers with pig-faced masks. The worst part is Porky is, rather than losing his seals himself from the world, unable to leave or die. Man, talk about being immature.
You know, I just realized something. Every pig-themed character is either a villain or an antagonist. Does Nintendo really have something against pigs?
Speaking of making pigs look evil, Ganondorf, also known as the Evil King, King of the Gerudo or Demon King, is a powerful Gerudo warlock and is none other than Ganon, the main antagonist of the Legend of Zelda series. Ganondorf himself made his first appearance in Ocarina of Time, but was first mentioned in A Link to the Past, and has since been present or referred to in some games, though he has been absent from the main timeline titles, starting in Twilight Princess until Tears of the Kingdom. Regardless of his forms, as Ganondorf is indeed Ganon himself as an alter ego, using the aspects of his Triforce of Power. He is the arch nemesis of Link and Princess Zelda, and the final boss of each game, which he appears in. Most of the time, he's basically a chess player, planning out each move towards his conquest of Hyrule. In Link to the Past, he became the first to enter the Sacred Realm. In Ages, he claimed that Triforce, turning the second realm into the Dark World, and himself into a vastly powerful being. In Ocarina of Time, he uses his position to betray the King of Hyrule, as well as cunning manipulative skills and mystical powers to gain entrance to the Sacred Realm, the abode of the Triforce. However, he does not obtain the full Triforce. He is left with only the Triforce of Power, which he uses to great effect of this contrast of Hyrule. Weirdly enough, in Wind Waker, he touches the Triforce of Power to summon other Triforce pieces. Makes you wonder why he didn't do that before. And of course, we could not forget the Breath of the Wild, turning Guardians on the Hyruleans and using the technology to create the Blight Ganon and its physical form. Ganondorf, throughout the timeline, has definitely been a menace to Hyrule.
Also, what's up with Nintendo making pigs villains? Did they just watch Animal Farm and like, oh, we could do something like that?
Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong, Nintendo's first official villain in the arcade genre. Master Hand from Smash Bros. He's a giant hand that acts like a creator of the Smash universe. Wario from Super Mario Land 2, 6 gold coins, and Mario franchise. I feel like he and Waluigi are basically anti-heroes, but they still count. Mewtwo from Pokemon. He's more like an antagonist or secret boss. Dark Samus from Metroid Prime. Does not have much personality except for evil Samus. Dementio, some Super Paper Mario. A part of me wish we didn't do the 1 per franchise rule. Tom Nook, Animal Crossing series. This guy counts as a villain. Thoughtful from Mario and Luigi series. Now a part of me wishes we didn't do the 1 per franchise rule. Giovanni from Pokemon. Would have been on here if it wasn't for number 1. So, quick question. What if I said there was a villain that has a god complex of Andrew Ryan, the nihilism of Kafka Palazzo, and is very intelligent and resourceful, particularly with machines? Now imagine this character in a Pokemon game. Don't get me wrong, Pokemon has had its share of dark moments. Look at some of the Pokédex entries and prove me wrong. The villains for a while were basically a crime syndicate. It was until Gen 3 they decided to go for the terrorist threat. But it was until Generation 4 that pushed the boundaries with their main antagonist, leader of Team Galactic, Cyrus.
Insert YouTube channel name pun here.
Cyrus was originally shown as being a very polite and affordable businessman who seemed to get along well with other people. However, this was actually a mask to cover up his true personality. Cyrus was actually a ruthless man who was hell-bent on destroying the current universe and replacing it with his own, to the point that he wanted to be the only one from the original who inhabited it. He had no qualms about attempting to kill anyone who came between him and his goals, and he was shown as taking sadistic delight in his crimes. When he was a child, though, he was known to be a good, albeit social student, and so preferred the company of machines over humans and Pokemon. Despite being such a good student, however, he did not live up to his parents' expectations, and so felt rejected. Sometimes after this, he decided emotions were the source of all strife in the world, and that only the elimination of emotions, along with spirit, was the only cure to find in the world. His grandfather, who lives in a house on Route 228, regretted not helping him in his time of need. He became increasingly irritated and stubbornly determined to achieve his goal of establishing a new world. Fixated by details, he spent extensive time and resources to ensure his plan came to fruition. Team Galactic was ultimately an enabling factor of his grand vision, and he gathered skilled individuals like Sharon and the commanders to achieve it. His selfish, ambitious, and manipulative efforts were finally resolved to everyone as he stepped forward to claim control over the new world for only himself.
And the weirdest part is, this guy is 27 years old. Think about that.
But the reason he's number one is because he was the one that inspired me to do Villains Month. When a good written villain like this come along, it can show how we need more villains like these in media.
I'm Galactic Knight, and I know there are plenty of other video game companies with plenty of villains to talk about. I just couldn't fit them all in one video. I don't know, maybe I can do another list for each video game company. I might have to think about that.